Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is Wolf Wilson. Welcome to the show. Today, we're digging into FAR Part 7, acquisition planning. Look, this show is by the people, for the people, and on behalf of the people. Who are the people, you may ask? The people, they're the people. They're the people in government contracting, right? The people who get down to the government contracting groove, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, look, people, today we have Troy Small on the show. Troy is a hard body. I'm telling you, look, Troy went from a combat zone a couple of times to the boardroom. He's in the corporate boardrooms now. He's also made and turned nasty civilian recruits into basically trained Marines. And this guy's also earned a few brown belts and black belts in martial arts along the way. Biggie Smalls, my man, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here. Wolf, my man, it's great to be here. Man, you looking fly as always. I'm loving the show. I'm loving the glow up. Much respect to you, bro. And look, man, is that the studio? Is that the studio in the crib? I mean, man, that is looking really nice, man. I'm looking forward to doing the show in person for sure. So thanks for having me here, man. This is awesome. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, look, we're here to talk about these government contracts so we can gain an understanding of the rules of the game. So, look, based on your background and your experience, please, man, tell the people about government contracting and, what is the overarching theme of FAR Part 7? The overarching theme of FAR Part 7 is to ensure timely, efficient, and cost-effective government contracting and acquisition. So in this space, proper planning helps to avoid delays and maximizes contracting opportunities. What FAR 7 does is it implements policies and procedures specifically to like developing acquisition plans, determining whether to use commercial or government resources for an acquisition of supplies or services, deciding whether it is more economical to lease equipment rather than purchase it, determining whether functions are inherently governmental, selection of the appropriate contract type, and appropriate consideration of the use of pre-existing contracts to fulfill the requirements. Man, this is excellent. This is excellent. I am loving this. The people are loving this. I know they are. Please explain the concept of acquisition plans. Government agencies must perform acquisition planning and conduct market research for all acquisitions in order to promote and provide for the acquisition of commercial products and commercial services, to promote and provide for full and open competition, the selection of the appropriate contract type, and the appropriate consideration of the use of pre-existing contracts to fulfill the requirement before awarding new contracts, meaning check to see, do we already have a contract in place that we could fulfill this with? If we don't, then we can go ahead and award or look to award a new contract. Also, the acquisition plan facilitates the attainment of the overall acquisition objectives, and it addresses all of the technical, business, management, and other significant considerations that will control the acquisition. So in my research, I learned that FAR subpart 7.107-2, it talks about consolidation. So can you tell us what is consolidation and why is it a big deal for contracting professionals to understand? Consolidation or a consolidated requirement is when the government issues a solicitation for a single contract or a multiple award contract, a task order, or delivery order to satisfy two or more requirements that the government has for supplies or services that have been provided to the government or performed for the government in the past under two or more separate contracts, meaning the government has two to three different opportunities that they want to fulfill that they're considering for consolidation. These two to three different opportunities or contract ops, supplies or services had been performed by two or three different vendors. The consolidation effort is attempting to take all of those three things and bring them under one umbrella and one contract, and then issue it as a consolidated requirement and have one vendor support it or multiple vendors under a multiple award contract as an example. So the government considers consolidation and bundling of requirements as a potential benefit. They look at consolidating requirements providing cost savings, price reduction, quality improvements, better terms and conditions, and a reduced acquisition life cycle. So those are the goals that they would look to achieve if they were to consolidate requirements. Now, consolidation of requirements above 2 million require approval from the senior procurement executive or the chief acquisition officer. Well, if I also want to mention bundling. So bundling of requirements is similar. Bundling provides many of the same benefits to the government as consolidation. Bundling, it's a subset of consolidation, and what it does is it combines two or more requirements for supplies or services previously provided or performed under separate smaller contracts. It brings them into a solicitation for a single contract or a multiple award contract or a delivery or a task order that is likely to be unsuitable for award to small business concerns due to situations such as the diversity, size, or specialized nature of the elements of the performance specified, the aggregate dollar value of the anticipated award may make it unsuitable for small business concerns. The geographical dispersion of the contract performance sites may be something that is deemed to be unsuitable for small business concerns to be able to perform, or any combination of these factors I just mentioned. Wow, that is excellent background. That's excellent. Please tell the audience why small businesses should pay attention when the government considers consolidating and bundling requirements. Small businesses should pay attention because consolidation may have a negative effect on their ability to participate in contracting opportunities. In fact, the government must document any negative impacts to small business concerns, and the determination must be coordinated with the agency's Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization, the OSDBU, or the Office of Small Business, which is, these are similar organizations. The point here is that they can't just make the determination and move forward. These determinations are so critical, or they have such a great effect on small business, that it must be coordinated with the local small business office or Office of Disadvantaged Business Utilization. Can you explain the concept of inherently governmental functions and how it works? Absolutely, absolutely. An inherently governmental function is one that must be performed by federal government employees, and it cannot be contracted out because it is intimately related to the public interest. So these are the words that are used in the regulation. And so the policy of the federal government is to perform inherently governmental activities with government personnel and to subject commercial activities to the forces of competition, meaning government contracting. So if it's not an inherently governmental activity or function, then the government kind of sort of automatically, in a sense, if it's not that, then it's like, oh, then I can contract this out. That's more of the binary way to look at this in our, dialogue here in our conversation. Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So based on what you just said, can you touch on contractor versus government performance? So Federal Acquisition Regulation Subpart 7.5 implements policies and procedures to ensure that inherently governmental functions are not performed by contractors. Government contracts shall not be used for the performance of inherently governmental functions, meaning you cannot contract out an inherently governmental function. You can only contract non-inherently governmental functions, if you will, or what will be considered commercial functions. Some examples of functions considered to be inherently governmental functions are the direction and control of federal employees, the determination of federal program priorities for budget requests, the command of military forces, and the approval of position descriptions and performance standards for federal employees, to name a few examples of some of the standard ones. Now, in federal procurement activities, there are several functions considered to be inherently governmental. As an example, determining what supplies or services are to be acquired by the government. That's a governmental function. A government person has to determine that. Contractor can't do that. Participating as a voting member on any source selection board, inherently governmental function. Now, a contractor can support the source selection board. They can perform as a scribe or an administrative support or things like that. However, they cannot be a voting member. And I'm speaking from experience as I've served on several source selection boards as a defense contractor. Obviously, it had the proper paperwork in place, but it is possible to do. Another procurement function that's considered inherently governmental is also approving any contractual documents, awarding contracts, administering contracts, and terminating contracts, determining whether contract costs are reasonable, allocable, and allowable. Like that's a government function. Like a contractor can't do that. That determination would have to be made by a government person. And then also like participating as a voting member on performance evaluation boards. So those are inherently governmental functions. Awesome. And this is really great. So can you provide some examples of functions that are generally not considered to be inherently governmental functions? Examples of functions generally not considered to be inherently governmental functions are services that involve or relate to reorganization and planning activities, services that involve or relate to budget preparation, meaning if it's helping to prepare a budget, a contractor can do that. That's not the same as making a budget decision or determining the budget, right? That's helping to build the budget preparation, if you will. Also, services in support of acquisition planning, totally allowable. I've done this as well, and plenty of contractors are sitting in program offices helping with acquisition planning. If it were, if it weren't for contractors, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be getting done. That's just the fact of the matter, and that just goes to show why this is a team effort between government and government contractors, right? Because really one cannot really survive without the other, and that's what makes our community go. So and then a few other things I wanted to share before I close this out, Wolf, is contractors providing assistance in the development of statements of work. That's legit. Contractors providing inspection services. That's legit. And contractors providing legal advice and interpretations of regulations and statutes to government officials. That's legit too. That's something that I experienced with my organization, where we provide expert witness services in support of lawyers, providing legal advice and interpretation of government regulations and statutes to help the court or the legal process to resolve itself through our expertise by providing clarity and context on the situation at hand. Also, through our training cast, our Contracting Officer Podcast 2.0, where we assist everyone in the government contracting space through training, education, and professional development. But specifically in this case, we assist government personnel. This podcast assists cores, contracting officers, representatives, contracting officers, contract specialists, program managers, budget and finance people, you name it. Many folks benefit, even college and university folks, particularly if they work in labs. There are many people in many corners of the government space that get a benefit from that. And that's just an example of how, in this case, this last one is legit in the sense that contractors providing legal advice and interpretations is legit. So that's my answer, Wolf. I feel like I've been talking for a while, but hopefully that answers your questions for you, man. Outstanding, outstanding. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That was Mr. Troy Biggie Smalls, former United States Marine government contracting officer. I call him a hard body, but that's just me. Join us next time on the show, and I hope everyone has a smooth 7. Take it easy.